Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network, based in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Sunday morning. With us today is Senator Ron Johnson from the great state of Wisconsin. Middle America, common sense. Well, Senator, I mean, what keeps you up at night?
John, there's all kinds of things keep me up at night. The fact that we're $39 trillion in debt, that, the Ayatollahs are still, unfortunately, in control because they've got the guns in Iran, and they do pose an existential threat to this country. A lot of people want to deny that, but they get a nuclear weapon. They've got the missile technology. They park a barge off our shore, lob a missile up there, detonate that high-altitude nuclear blast. That wipes out our electrical grid. That's existential to us. So I, for one, am highly appreciative of the fact that President Trump made the very difficult decision and honestly sticking by it. He's not declaring a false victory here. He's going to make sure that Iran never can become a nuclear power. Every president said that since the Ayatollahs took over. The only person who's effectively dealt with it was President Trump, and I just hope the public sticks with him. I know there's a lot of naysayers here that are literally aiding and abetting the Iranian regime, because as long as they see that there's pressure being put on Trump, they'll continue to hold out. I think that's unfortunate. I wish America was completely supportive of what President Trump was doing. I think it'd bring the war to an end, a successful end, a lot quicker.
Senator, the thing I worry most about is that something can go wrong with the voting. And we know that voting is a problem, that we had problems in several states. Are things getting better? Do you feel good about Wisconsin? Are things getting better in Wisconsin?
Unfortunately not. I mean, in Wisconsin, for example, we have like over 7,000 people on our voter roll. We've got less than 4 million people registered to vote. That's a problem. The Democrats continue to push early voting. They keep expanding it, and collect ballots, further and further beyond the date of election. So Democrats, they're doing everything they can to make it easy to cheat. They resist any type of reforms that restore election integrity. And we need to do that. We need to restore confidence in our elections. It's not a good situation where in 2016 half of America thought there was an illegitimate result, Russia collusion hoax. Fast forward 4 years, the other half now doesn't agree with that elections. That's not good. We want everybody in America to have elections that are elections are fair, they're accurate, no matter who wins. It's a legitimate result, and that their legitimate votes not canceled out by fraudulent ones. So that's why I'm for the Save America Act. I'm for election integrity, but unfortunately, Democrats oppose it. And unless we end the filibuster, which I also am in support of, we're not going to give Democrats support to restore confidence in our election. They want to make it easy to cheat.
Well, I don't mind expanded voting if it's maybe for 5 days, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and that's it. But they're doing it for 2 weeks. And when you have it for 2 weeks, there's no way you can keep your eyes on what's going on at every hour of the day on voting.
And also, news breaks even before the election. So if you've cast your ballot weeks ahead of time, some news breaks, you're not going to be able to dial that back in. So, no, I mean, our founders, they set it in election day. I wish we'd pretty well adhere to that with some notable exceptions. If you're traveling, that kind of stuff, I'm not opposed to absentee ballot, but it should be completely controlled. There should be a reason for doing it as well. It was the Baker-Carter Commission, completely nonpartisan commission. Jimmy Carter, James Baker, said that the greatest threat for potential fraud in our elections is absentee ballots. And Democrat left has, used COVID to double the number of absentee ballots in that presidential election and doing everything they can to expand it. Again, they want to make it easy to cheat. That tells you something.
Well, we had on one of our shows a couple of days ago, we had Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch, and they already won a case in Washington I think it was either Washington or Oregon State, where they had 800,000 voters that were not qualified to vote, and there was 1 million in New York City, New York State. I mean, and then I asked him about how about the rest of the country. He says it could be as many as 20 million. What are we doing about that? I mean, if people don't understand voting and census, we're counting the migrants.
And again, most Americans are with us on this. The people who aren't are Democrat elected officials, because their goal is to turn America into one-party nation. That's why they flooded this country with millions of unvetted people, herded them into sanctuary cities and states, plus up the census count, get more members of Congress. Again, resist any election reforms to restore confidence and integrity of our elections. That's what they want to do. So I hope enough Americans are wise to that fact. I hope they don't want a one-party nation ruled by radical leftists, which is now the Democrat Party. But that's what we're up against. We're up against a party that has lost any kind of rationality and are dedicated that they're only interested in power. And we know their policies are awful. I mean, socialism doesn't work. You know, I hope New York City can survive Mamdani.
I hope so too. I live here, I mean, otherwise we have to find some solution, because there's no common sense. I mean, sometimes, and we need common sense to run our cities, our states, our countries. And what are we doing? And you used to be a member of the Homeland Security. That mayor in California that admitted she was a double agent for China. I mean, what happened to you get shot for treason?
Well, remember the Biden administration, one of the first things that Joe Biden did is he canceled the China Initiative, which is all about using DOJ resources to investigate the Chinese theft of our intellectual property on colleges. So we know that China has infiltrated our colleges and universities. They've infiltrated medical journals. They've infiltrated most institutions in this country. And you have to read Sun Tzu's Art of War. It's how the Chinese operate. They don't operate by the rules we do. They want to replace America as a world superpower, and that would be a very bad thing for America or for the world, because the Chinese values, their governmental values of communism, are not good for freedom. It'd be horrible for the world. And so we need to resist it. But here in America, we have to have leaders like President Trump who fully understands this and is on the lookout for it and utilizes our law enforcement resources to try and root out the infiltration of the Chinese Communist Party here in America.
Well, thank you so much for calling in this Sunday morning, and enjoy the rest of the weekend, and God bless you and God bless America.
God bless you. Take care.